One of the least valued positions across the entire NFL is running back. Despite these guys putting up 1,000 yards routinely, they aren't paid anywhere close to wide receivers. When you look at the most recent extension San Francisco gave to Christian McCaffrey, it's only a 2-year contract worth $38 million. That's just right above 19 mil. But when you consider the fact Christian McCaffrey put up over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 21 touchdowns, I think this is worth every penny. But there have been people saying this is a terrible deal. So in this video, I want to go over why I believe San Francisco knows exactly what they're doing with Christian McCaffrey. I'll do this by looking at his career up to this point, including his injury history, his athletic profile, and his most recent year's film. We were first introduced to Christian McCaffrey in Castle Rock, Colorado, where he was born Ed McCaffrey, the former Broncos wide receiver who coincidentally was also coached by Mike Shanahan. Lisa McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's mom, was also extremely athletic. She played soccer at Stanford, and Christian often says that he owes his athleticism to his parents. But that's not the only thing he owes to his parents. His work ethic was really forged by his dad at a young age. During Pop Warner games, for instance, if Christian McCaffrey was ever jersey tackled, he would be grounded. In addition to this, Christian McCaffrey would have rigid bedtimes. But it didn't stop there. Everything was really a way to get a competitive edge over your competition for Ed McCaffrey. One thing he did, for instance, was cut Christian McCaffrey's pant leg near his knee to give him more flexibility while running. To help eliminate some of those jersey tackles, Christian McCaffrey's dad utilized double-sided tape to stick the jersey to his pads. All of these extra steps appear to pay off for Christian McCaffrey though. He broke numerous Colorado high school records, including total touchdowns with 141, career all-purpose yards with 8,845, touchdown receptions with 47, and single-season all-purpose yards with 3,032. He was also the Gatorade Football Player of the Year for Colorado in 2013 and 2012. Coming out of Valor Christian High School, McCaffrey was ranked as a 4-star recruit according to 24/7 Sports, and they even had him as the second best back across the entire nation. And he had offers from Stanford, Arizona State, and Boise State. Ultimately, he did decide to commit to Stanford. As a freshman, despite not starting in 2017, Christian McCaffrey had 796 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey's real breakout year, though, had to be in 2015, where he surpassed Barry Sanders' NCAA record of 3,250 all-purpose yards, finishing that season with 3,864 yards. After the season, McCaffrey was a consensus All-American and was the Pac-12 Player of the Year. He also finished second in Heisman voting. And while 2016 didn't see the same level of production from Christian McCaffrey, he still had 1,600 yards on the ground, 310 receiving yards, and 2,327 all-purpose yards and 16 touchdowns. And after the completion of another successful season, Christian McCaffrey decided to enter the 2017 NFL Draft. And at the combine, he came in at 5'11", weighing 200 pounds. He ran his 40-yard dash in 4.48 seconds and his 10-yard split in 1.52 seconds. And once scouts started breaking down Christian McCaffrey's film, they saw positives as well as negatives. As far as strengths go, Christian McCaffrey rarely chose the wrong hole. In addition to that, he had excellent change of directions, which showed up not just in the running game, but in the receiving game, where he would often dominate opposing teams' linebackers, basically whoever was trying to cover him. McCaffrey also offered interesting versatility as a punt and kickoff return specialist. But there was questions about his top end speed as well as his weight. Many scouts just didn't see him as a 3-down back and eventually thought he would just wear down, especially when you consider the fact of how much workload he had at Stanford. Regardless of these concerns, however, the Carolina Panthers saw a great back in Christian McCaffrey and selected him with pick 8 in the 2017 NFL Draft. During McCaffrey's first 3 years in the league, from 2017 to 2019, he was one of the most dominant backs, putting up 5,443 offensive yards. 2019 might have been Christian McCaffrey's best year in Carolina. He finished the season with 1,387 rushing yards and 1,005 receiving yards. He was so dominant, in fact, this season, he accounted for 43% of Carolina's total yardage. So unsurprisingly, headed into the 2020 season, the Panthers decided to extend Christian McCaffrey, giving him a 4-year deal worth $64 million, making him the highest paid running back in NFL history. During the next 2 years, from 2020 to 2021 though, Christian McCaffrey would only play in 10 games, hampered by injury. So in 2022, after 6 games for Carolina, they decided to move off of him, trading him to San Francisco. And during his first full complete year with San Francisco in 2023, he was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year for the first time of his career. During this year, Christian McCaffrey was both effective on the ground and through the air. He rushed for 1,459 yards and received 564 more through the air, giving him a grand total of 2,023 all-purpose yards. But perhaps more importantly for Christian McCaffrey, he's been able to remain healthy for the last 2 years, and he's adamant that the injuries in his past were more flukes. So now diving into this film, I want to focus on how Christian McCaffrey is the perfect back for Kyle Shanahan. One of the things you'll notice immediately about great running backs is their ability to fit through small gaps. On this play, for instance, Christian McCaffrey not only does this, but also shows off his vision. Here, he can see where his offensive lineman is trying to down block on this defensive player, so he has the ability to cut it back inside and pick up the first down on 3rd and 3. He actually picks up 7 here. McCaffrey is also a quarterback's best friend on the blitz. On this play, he's the hot route as the blitz is coming from his side. Brock Purdy does an excellent job of identifying this, and then it's left up to Christian McCaffrey to get it first. So he simply hits the Heisman on this defensive player and takes it all the way to the 5. McCaffrey also has the unique ability to make a dead play into a positive one. Here, for instance, he shows great contact balance and acceleration to get all the way down to the goal line. And while Christian McCaffrey was a great player with the Panthers, I believe Kyle Shanahan brings the best out of him. Whether that be putting Christian McCaffrey in the slot or flexing him out wide or even having him throw a touchdown, I just love seeing all the things Christian McCaffrey is doing with San Francisco. On this play, for instance, Kyle Shanahan does a great job of putting stress on this defense before it even begins. First, he has Deebo Samuel in the backfield, but he also has Christian McCaffrey coming on that motion. And then it's timed in a way Christian McCaffrey is able to get up to a full sprint while Brock Purdy is snapping it, so he doesn't have to slow down at all, and then he hits this crazy whip type route. And I think this is one of his better routes because he has the ability to stop and then accelerate extremely quickly. You can really see how this gets this backer here, and then once he does get the ball in his hands, he's always doing great things. Another area in which Christian McCaffrey excels in the passing game is catching in traffic. On this play, for instance, he has the ability to catch between 2 defenders knowing that he's probably going to get smacked. During these last 2 years for San Francisco, without Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if they would have reached the playoffs or even the Super Bowl. So for those reasons, this still is definitely worth it to me. But there has been question marks about his health, and he is getting older. So the one thing I would like to see Kyle Shanahan do a better job of is mixing in a rotation of backs to help keep Christian McCaffrey healthy, and I think that's easy considering you have guys like Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason on your roster. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts about San Francisco giving Christian McCaffrey a 2-year contract extension, and I want to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton if you liked and subscribed, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.